This is the powerful action piece in the key of G minor with a tempo of 160 BPM. The primary notes are G minor 11. Now, a powerful action piece can look a little daunting, but you've been in this course for hours now, even longer, and for days, weeks, months, you've been studying this course. It's a long course, but at this juncture, none of what I'm telling you should be of any surprise. Maybe the cymbal crash because we haven't used it, but you have the template file to look over. As usual, we're going to look over these aspects of the piece. We have our ostinato. Let's listen. G minor 11 ostinato. So we have a form of music that goes back and forth. Now, let's listen. If you look closely, these are eighth notes. These are eighth note structures in the G minor 11 format, and we're just subdividing them within each measure. That's how we get that ostinato, epic sound for the strings. Now the strings aren't as nuanced for FL Studio, but they get the job done. And for the control function, down here, I'm just using the velocity to add a little bit more of a human element and a less mechanical sound for this piece. Now, we have our ostinato element, and that goes for 16 bars of music. This is a short piece, so we make the pieces or the accompanying patterns a little bit longer because we're dealing with such a tight time frame. We don't have much time to really expand upon or make any detours musically. So we have to get to the listener's ear. The patterns are longer for this piece simply because the nature of trailer music, advertisement music, which this piece is geared towards, has a short window or listener to have. So you have to get to the point very quickly. That's why I made these pieces longer and less time for a detour musically. Now, we have our ostinato playing, and that will have a slight variation. Let's listen. Now, again, this could be daunting, but it's not. It shouldn't be. All we're doing here is I took the eighth notes that I had here from my original G minor 11th, copy and pasted them an octave higher. That's all I did. All I did for the notes here, if you look closely, remember our copy and paste function from building our first song. All I did was Control A from our first ostinato and copied it to G6 to give a stacked level for our violins, because that's what is done. We just add the octave higher, or add an octave higher. That's the trick for having a higher level violin section or ostinato pattern, is copying the first range or the lower range to a higher range or octave. The same exact notes, it's no magic, it's the same exact thing played at a different octave. And then the middle notes, the midline references I'm using are just simply a G minor sus4. And I'm holding the violin section here. I'm holding a single melodic line for 4 beats to give it a nice, very nice sound between all that chaotic frequency at the G4 and G6 level. So this is kind of a marker for the listener's ear. Now we're on to our piano, which is again a G minor 11. We'll take a listen to that. This is the piano outro, by the way. This is what we play at the end of the song. You know, after all that chaos, we have this nice, slow piano piece. Strings. We have our cello and bass. Strings have our cello and bass, and here we go. G minor, F major, B flat major, octave Cs. So for our strings too, we have G minor, F major, C minor, and D minor. Strings 3, G minor, F major, B flat major, and C. The same for strings 4. We go to strings 5. G minor, B flat, C minor, D minor. Let's listen to our brass. All I am doing here is adding our bass brass instrument and having our French horn pluck 8th notes here. Brass 2, same idea, except we're adding an extended trumpet well above into the higher frequency. So we're having our G3 to G4, but this is going up to at least the B sharp or B flat 5 to comprise of a large G minor 11th chord. Has an ascending pattern, and then it descends and goes right back into the main motif. Our bass, straightforward, follows all the bass notes from the main melodic ideas. Much the same idea, following whatever the melodic leads are dictating. And then I did add some drums towards the end. The taiko drums, simply, as we said about percussion, are tied to a major event in this piece, which would be the recapitulation phase. Drums are set to occur on mostly the strong beat using quadruple meter. And now the cymbals are different. The cymbals I dragged directly over to the playlist grid. With audio samples, you have the ability to create and manipulate the sound amongst your other elements. This is routinely done where you're not able to necessarily control the timing of your instrument if you tie it to the channel rack. So you can just literally drop your sample, whatever audio sample you're using it, and place it where you need to. You can actually see the waveform within the sample of where the high point of the crash will occur. So I took that and just added it to the perfect part of the rest musically and the start the recapitulation phase. So I needed the cymbal to time itself perfectly in order for the next phase of the song to be completed. Now, with all that being said, let's listen. And that's a powerful action piece.